Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 1 out of 0 of Hell Bent for Laughter, comedy metal podcast. My name is Andrew Fahey. This is the whole crew. My buddy John Sawicki here, my buddy Jake Bassi.
Hello, friends.
Introduce yourselves and say what you want to say, gang.
First, buddy.
We don't have to include that.
Mom, I'm so sorry. And Dad, I appreciate the college education that you provided for me.
Yeah, man.
My name is John Sawicki. I am a guitarist and vocalist in the band Viminal. And I also am apparently a stand-up comedian. And I have a couple of friends.
Not apparently, man. You are.
You're a comic. You do open mics.
Come on.
You're in the trenches with us.
They're all saying, he said that thinking that would make me sound cooler. You're a comedian. You do open mics.
Well, you got paid $20 to do my show sometime last year.
That's
how I framed that shit.
Yeah,
dude.
it's on the show.
Laminated the 20.
Literally.
Laminating it would be a great idea.
Yeah, laminate that 20. Never spend it. Never
right, so
spend
who the hell
it.
are you?
It'll. I am Jake Bassi. I am an alleged podcaster and comedian. I used to do the pods and all that shit. I talk for chicken sandwiches and drink tickets.
Same.
And I have a day job, but fuck that shit. We're hell bent for laughter.
So hi, I'm Andrew Fahey. I'm also a comedian. I host the hilarious Bare Knuckles comedy show here in North Hollywood, and I'm happy to be here with my friends. We never plugged the show that we have coming up. So this whole recording podcast situation that we're doing here is leading up to our second ever live show, Hell Bent for Laughter, May 2nd at Universal
Bar and Grill.
We're announcing the headliner, right?
Yeah, Dean Del Rey.
Dean fucking Del Rey.
Big who's opened for Metallica, he's doing the Hollywood Bowl with Bill Burr the day after that.
It's a hybrid of metal and comedy, so we have some of our favorite metal stand-up comedians in Los Angeles and beyond, and music by a live metal band who may or may not be in the room with us right now. Who
not the band, just me.
The live house band, because you said you had a drum machine, right?
So I think we're gonna do it where it's gonna be. I'm gonna be there with my guitar to provide commentary and riffs.
It's not John's fantastic band Viminal. They are contractually elsewhere.
I guess I need to. I don't. Can I say it? I guess I can say this. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Well, we're not going to do it.
I have my band Viminal. So I have a band called Viminal.
If you like shred, check them out.
Thank you. If you like riffs, death metal, shit like that, Arch Enemy, Hypocrisy.
I love Hypocrisy. Oh my god!
You should check out my band Viminal,
buddy. Check out Viminal. We got a rec for it.
It's sort of like epic death thrash with a lot of shreddy solos and stuff. We are playing, and this might be nice to promote too. We are playing in Anaheim on May 24th, I believe, with Veil of Nath and Abigail Williams and a few other bands.
Buddy.
Summoning the Lich.
Fuck yeah.
And
dude.
tragically, I can't remember the other band we're playing with. But
that's at the Chain Reaction, no?
Chain Reaction.
Chain Reaction. I
yeah,
love that
100%.
place. That's a good place.
So we're committed to that. So for this show, I'm just going to be there to provide some commentary and some riffs.
Now, the last time we did it, when we did Scream Funny Gore, we had the band on the whole time, which I know was a huge ask to have you guys on there the entire time.
I don't think it was. I mean, it wasn't like that big of a deal. We would have just been sitting by the merch booth, so we just did that on stage. And admittedly, sometimes it felt like we were at the merch booth because we're on our phones and shit.
Right. I feel like metalheads are more mentally adjusted than regular folk.
I'm trying to remember your college degree is in ancient history, right?
Classics, yes.
Classics
is like the academic term for like when you study ancient Greece and Rome, and specifically those two.
Greece and Rome are your specialty?
Yeah.
That's the most Greek thing that you've done.
No, the most Greek thing I've done is show up for this podcast an hour and a half late. Is the most
at your own
house,
at my own house, my own residence.
I thought the most Greek thing to do is do the Olympics naked.
No, trust me, the most Greek thing you can do is be lazy as fuck.
Yeah,
and be not on time, and then just have some fucking...
In my defense, the entirety of my understanding of Greek culture comes from the comedian Stavros Halkias.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just seeing him and him being like, we're lazy as fuck, we eat olives, fucking whatever.
If you've ever been to the nation of Greece, that's what a lot of the country feels like.
It just feels like a big lounge fest.
I'm Greek via immigration into the U.S. And so like I had relatives that like came here on a fucking floating door, and like my grandfather got, I don't know if you would call him rich, but like well enough that he was he'd send me $20 like like it was nothing when I was a kid from a flower shop, like just stuff that you wouldn't.
$20 ain't nothing either.
Yeah, so like I feel like I have like Greek hustle in my blood, but I also have I feel like I'm allowed to say these things that Greeks are fucking lazy. On average. Don't at me.
Don't at you. There's, I mean, laziness, because Greeks fall into tracksuit folk. Yeah? Are these folk that wear tracksuits?
I don't know. Are you talking about like sort of that like stereotypical Russian?
It's kind of like look? Russian, there's a gold chain, just kind of like, I'll just wear everything at once. Like, fuck it,
I don't know how to speak to that on the Russian side or the or the Greek side.
Well, tracksuit folk, it spans across many nations. There's tracksuit people in like South America, Italians, there's Croatians, a lot of like the Eastern Bloc, like Slavic people. It's not always Russians. Armenians wear the tracksuits. I don't know if that improves with the laziness at all.
Why? Just because they can start running all of a sudden.
I don't know.
That's true.
They're just
at
like,
a moment's notice, they might need to get
lazy. I'll just run 5K now.
Before we came up with the title Hellbent for Laughter, we had a bunch of alternate titles that we had that were really good. My favorite was Toxic Holocaust, but we can't do that one.
Yeah, that's trouble. We had a lot of really fun alternate titles for the show in general. We should, because we are currently Hellbent for Laughter, which fucking rules, which was John's contribution, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then before that, we were Scream Funny Gore.
Scream Funny Gore, yeah.
Which I love, but nobody knew.
Nobody got
what
it.
That was.
Well, you had to be you had to be a metalhead to know what that. If you were a metalhead, you got it. I think the problem is that there's going to be people who are just like into metal vaguely, or they're into rock and roll, or they just want to go see a comedy show. And Scream Funny Gore doesn't have like the kind of generic appeal. Like even my mom was like, I don't get it. So is there like violence at the show?
Is there violence?
And I was just show? Like,
you're gonna see us die a miserable death. All right.
I was like, you'll be violently ill after you see me on stage.
Oh God. Well, also the show was in October, so it made sense to all three of us to have it be, because the first Death album is a bunch of skeletons like around a throne, and it's very spooky. Everyone's holding like candles and shit. It's very fucking goth.
Whoever does this in post, if you have the technology to throw up the original Scream Funny Gore poster, that this would be the time to do it, or not.
Album
you can
comparisons.
Google it, or you could follow us on Instagram or whatever.
Whoever does this in post. John, put the fucking Scream Funny Gore.
John, put this up.
But that was the original iteration of this. And do you have a favorite title that we did not do? We've got Toxic Holocaust.
I liked Vulgar Display of Comedy. That one was good.
It had to be laughter.
Yeah.
It was Vulgar Display of Laughter.
Vulgar Display of Laughter.
When you get to comedy in that phrase, it's just like vulgar display of comedy. It's just like it just hits me in the nuts.
It doesn't fit with because it doesn't rhyme with the pun that we're going.
That's what I would argue.
Yeah,
and it's still funny. I don't want to take this entirely away from you because you've been saying comedy the entire time that you've had the idea. Mm-hmm. But to me, what makes the most organic sense is vulgar display of laughter.
Yeah. It could be a future title, you don't suppose?
It absolutely could.
Yeah.
No?
And why
would you not parody the album cover where like it's the guy getting punched in the face, but he's also holding a microphone?
Yes, but we would call it Vulgar Display of Laughter.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yes,
I agree with that.
You don't have to agree with it if you disagree.
You said All Day I Dream About Sets, the Korn song.
What's that a reference to?
Adidas.
Yeah, the track by Korn, Adidas, All Day. The original name is All Day I Dream About Sex.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't know that, as a comedian, all day I dream about sets, baby. Stand-up comedy.
And we axed that one because it was too inside baseball of the title. Because there was really good ones. There was I liked Hate Crew Death Troll, the Bodum album. That one was really good. Diary of a Funny Man was really good.
Oh, Ozzy, that would be good.
Yeah, Ozzy would be good. And another Ozzy one, John DeResta, who's booked on Hellbent for Laughter, he came up with Hack Sabbath.
Hack Sabbath is pretty good.
Yeah, I like that one, but it's
I
still
don't think it has. I still don't think it has like kind of the like appeal to a mainstream audience or like a general audience that is, people who just want to go see like a rock and roll ish, comedy show.
Right.
I also don't
I
love
like it.
So
Go ahead.
I'm weirdly particular. I don't like when the title of the show is I'm all about self-deprecation, don't get me wrong, but when the title of the show is specifically saying, "Hey guys, the show is going to be bad,"
Right.
I don't like that.
I agree with that. No,
so Hack Sabbath, although it's clever, is kind of like
it would make us look
we're
bad.
hacks.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
To me, or like people who call their open mic train wreck or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, no, it's going to be good.
The train wreck mic.
I would like to promote it as if it's something that's going to be good, please.
Yeah. There was a show, no names, but there was a show called like "This Show Sucks," like "We're the Worst, Nobody's Funny," and it was at a diner at like 10 o'clock at night.
No offense to the people who run it, because I think
they're great
who
people.
run that show.
But like the allure of that was like it's like that movie The Room, where it's kind of like shitty on purpose.
Sure,
Yeah,
when there's a theme of that nature, I suppose.
And the trouble with that show is that one of the producers told me was that one of the comics wasn't in on the joke that it was going to be bad, and that one of the comics booked on the show like actually sucks.
That's my actual worst nightmare.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yikes.
It's awful. It was fucked up. But yeah, Hack Sabbath, I totally agree. It sounds clever, but
it is clever. It's funny. Yeah, I like it. But to name the show that, to me, is kind of like I'm supposed to just tell people, it's like, no, it's because we're a bunch of bad comedians. It's like, no, I want them. We're hellbent for laughter, baby.
My brother thought of Among the Laughing, the Anthrax record. He
really
liked
great.
that one.
I think the tragedy of that one is that not a lot of people will get the album reference.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, that's my favorite Anthrax record. It's probably one of my favorite albums of all time. I was actually listening to it last week, but yeah, I think some people won't get the reference.
Well, that's
why I think a lot of people who like my dad knows who Judas Priest are, right? Like he's not a metalhead, but he likes rock and roll, and he knows Priest. So it's like I feel like Hellbent for Laughter was like the it was kind of like the perfect. It was like the sweet, and I'm not saying that just because I came up with it and I'm smarter and more clever than all of you, but I'm saying it because we had this like really long brain dump of a ton of names, and then we narrowed it down to like 3 or 4, and I think it was vulgar display of laughter / comedy. Keeping it Scream Funny Door, I think, was an option. Hellbent for Laughter was one, and then there was another one though that we really liked.
Seasons of the Bits.
It wasn't.
No,
I love that though.
There was one more, and we narrowed it down to all those, and I can't remember exactly.
One of us said "Run the Lightning," like to
I
run the light, and that's also like an inside baseball like kind of
Yeah.
comedy thing. When you run the light, like you're eating up more time than you should.
I think that. Oh, go ahead.
No, my favorite one that I still stand by that nobody likes at all is Hammer Smashed Japes.
Japes is difficult because that's a fancy word.
Japes is I don't even know what that
It's
means.
But it works.
And it sounds just on the edge of a racial slur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Google it if you want. It means a joke, a funny thing, and it also rhymes sort of with face.
See what I mean about college education?
Well, that's
I've got a bachelor's.
I think that one's
That's what I'm
smart.
saying. I'm saying that.
Oh, you're saying it's bad that I'm smart.
Christ. Let me give
Well,
you.
that's like a
compliment.
19th century, like we're doing like an aristocrat, like kind of word to make it like sound fancy.
But the dichotomy between hyperviolence
and like fanciness,
funny, or not funny, excuse me. You already said the words.
Braiding is hard when making words go sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the best.
But did you have we ended up with the one you suggested. Did you have another one that was one of your favorites that we did not end up using?
I think what it came down to, I think it was like 3 or 4. And to my memory, was there another Judas Priest one?
Maybe Breaking the Laws.
Breaking the Laws. Yeah, that sounds like it could have. It would have legs.
I haven't. If there's a moment where I don't have to talk, I'll look it up because it was in our group chat where I think we narrowed it down to 3 or 4.
Yeah, Laughs of Comprehension.
Laughs of Comprehension. That was one of them. Yeah,
that was an early
that was one of them. That one was good.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but I think the top 3 we narrowed it down to was Hellbent for Laughter, Scream Funny Door, and vulgar display of laughter.
One that both of you shot down was Laughter Alice, the Tool album.
That's it's the problem is that there's a lot of these that are like objectively fine, but then it's like when you put them next to vulgar display of laughter or Hellbent for Laughter, it's just like no, like there's no scenario where we would pick Laughter Alice a tough to even spell or say, let alone like refer to like, oh yeah, that Tool album. Like most people, I don't want to say most people don't know who Tool is, but like still Tool compared to Judas Priest,
Right.
I don't think has the like, just immediate like.
I also wouldn't want people who are fans of the band Tool at my.
You wouldn't want
show.
Tool. You wouldn't want Tool heads at your show. Why?
no.
Why? Because they fucking circle pit by doing like math homework. Or
Yeah, I was
some
gonna
shit.
say
Like,
they're all on DMT. They're not gonna know what's
They're
happening.
not. They don't know what's going on. They're like, oh, this joke is. We're too smart to have these jokes here.
They've all got Texas Instruments calculators in their hand, trying to figure out the fucking joke structure.
Oh fuck yeah, that's funny.
I don't know that much about Tool, so this is news to me.
Did you know this? So Tool and Metallica were on night 3 of Power Trip, and a friend of mine went, and I asked him who played first, and it was Tool opened for Metallica. But I was thinking of it as like
you got to do it that
Metallica would never open for fucking anyone, not at their current stature.
You might argue they'd open for Sabbath or something like that.
Yeah, they would.
And then maybe they even have.
And what was fucked up is that night 1 was Guns N' Roses and Iron Maiden. Fucking
They
Maiden.
might open for Maiden.
Maiden opened for Guns N' Roses.
That's dog shit to me.
That is hurtful, but I also understand.
Yeah, well, this is Guns N' Roses territory. It's Southern California. Like this is their, but also Maiden's like fucking mega huge, like worldwide.
Was this recent?
This was at Power Trip last year.
Power Trip was last
So-
year.
Yeah.
That was very recent.
So
It was like the metal Coachella.
that Guns N'
basically.
Roses tour. Well, I think. Well, if it's last year, I don't know if it counts. But I'm gonna sound like a fucking nerd, but like the Guns N' Roses comeback tour from a handful of years ago or whatever, and I think
I remember
technically
that
it's
one, yeah.
considered still the same thing. Maybe
Yeah,
was like the highest grossing tour in history, and it was insane. By the way, I went and they played for 4 hours straight.
that was
no
the one at the
intermission.
Guns N' Roses.
Guns N' Roses played for. This is not hyperbole. I looked at my watch. My
Do they
phone.
not only just have those 2 albums? Am I wrong?
They have.
they
so
have Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, Appetite for Destruction.
And then
The
Chinese
Spaghetti,
Democracy, right?
And
the
then
Spaghetti
Chinese-
Incident is a cover album if you count that.
Yeah, they really only have. You can sort of argue 3 albums and then Chinese Democracy.
GNR Lies is a live.
I guess I just
record.
don't know.
And
that
they
Mhm.
and the fun.
Sorry.
I'll say this: one of the ways they get, so they do a lot of covers. They did do like some guitar solo, kind of like
one. Yeah, I guess it's
long
Slash.
guitar solo things. And I'll say like I don't know,
I guess
like,
he
as
has
if he's gonna watch this, but like Richard, I think his name is Richard Fortis, who's the guy who's been actually in GNR longer than anyone than Slash, because Slash quit, right? But Richard has been in the band, I think, since like the 90s.
Yeah.
He fucking shreds.
he
He's great.
replaced-
Like, massively underrated.
Steven Adler on the drums or no?
He's a guitar player.
Oh, he's the guitar player. Oh, because it was
So-
Slash, Izzy Stradlin.
he's like the So he's like the rhythm guitar player, but
Uh-huh.
he shreds. He's great.
fucking.
Anyway, yeah, they played for so fucking long, and by the time like I was tired, I was like, yeah, Paradise City, wrap this shit up,
Yeah.
let's go.
Laugh and let die.
Yeah, put me down before you take me down. Yeah.
And they get away with it a lot because they do a lot of covers, and a lot of their songs, especially from their second and third album, are long. They're like 10-minute songs.
November Rain is like fucking 12 minutes long. Estranged is
Stuff
long
like
as
that.
fuck.
Exactly.
Was that at the Troubadour on April 1st?
It was at the Forum.
The Forum? Because I remember my brother went to I thought it was a total fucking joke because it was
Troubadour? Is that even
yeah,
still open?
they played. I think so.
I
This
never
was
hear about anything happening
a
at the
while
Troubadour.
back. I don't remember what year, but my brother called me. He goes like, "Oh, I'm going to watch Guns N' Roses at the Troubadour," and it was April 1st. I'm like, "Oh, haha, funny." And
That's awesome.
they actually like played at the Troubadour. I think it was like you know what it was? It was a one-off back when Duff McKagan was like rumored to come back to Guns N' Roses, and they did like a Tower Records pop-up thing.
Oh, well, and
Yeah.
then he did come back, so that was a
He
while
did
ago.
come back, yeah, and on April fucking 1st, and it was like nobody believed it, and it was so much, it was so fucking cool. Like Guns, they have quality over quantity as far as like records go. You know what I mean? Like they're so
I guess you
prolific,
could sort
but they
of,
have less records.
I guess that's like inarguable because they have so few records, but a lot of their songs suck. I think actually,
Use Your Illusion 2 is not my favorite.
right?
Yeah.
I feel like Appetite's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
and then I can take or leave half of on what's on User Illusion 1 and 2,
Mhm.
and then I'm not even sure I've ever even been able to get through Chinese Democracy.
Because that was the one where like Buckethead was the guitar player for a minute.
I think a lot of those songs have different guitar players because it's like
Lots of different.
that's one of
guitar
those
players.
albums where like it was recorded over like years in
15
different
years or
locations,
so.
I think. So
People were
I
asking,
don't
when's
know.
it coming
This
out?
is, no one gives a shit. First of all this information can be better established via
1/3 of
Wikipedia.
the members
This
of
is
this
hilarious.
podcast doesn't give a shit about Guns. I don't like Guns N' Roses.
What? Why not?
Oh man,
stink.
I do like.
I dig them, but they're not like my favorite.
No,
Yeah.
I've reached a. So I guess I'm part of a generation where I don't see them as a band and music separate from the brand that is Guns N' Roses. So I hear Welcome to the Jungle and I just think of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas intro.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Same way as like Led Zeppelin rock and roll is to me like a Ford truck commercial or something like that.
Mhm.
I
Like-
think of it as the School of Rock, which I think of a
Which
lot. Led Zeppelin. Oh, I take that back. That's Immigrant Song. I'm sorry.
Same. Well, I mean, you almost proved my. Or
Yeah,
you're,
yeah.
you're almost contributing. To the point.
Yeah, I'm making the same point that you're making. Yeah.
Yeah. So Guns N' Roses to me is corny. It's like commercial music. I'm
just-
sure
I just
there was a
hate
time
that-
and place where it was like the most fantastic stuff that's ever happened. And when you look at the track list on Appetite of Destruction, it's like, oh, this is hits after hits after. This is fucking
There's
thriller
no
level.
There's
quality.
no skippable tracks on there. Like even the B sides
Yeah.
are good. You ever find yourself like you listen to an album and like you skip a song, like not because it sucks, but just because the one after that is the banger song that sells, and you kind of forget about that song for a while, and you go, oh fuck, this song slaps. Like Think About You and Mr. Brownstone, like those are not like
Mr.
you know.
Brownstone
I
fucking
fucking
rules.
love that song. It's a great fucking song.
I really like Night Train. Also,
Night Train is
I've wanted
not
to do like
on-
an extreme metal version of Night Train.
An extreme version of Night Train,
Yeah.
Fright Train.
No, well, I mean, I just mean I want to play it like a metal, like
Play it like a
extreme
metal song? Do you know about
the Night Train. You know,
Oh no, no! I think of that all the time. There's an artist. His name is Leo something in Italian, but he does pop. He does metal covers of pop songs.
on YouTube, right?
Oh,
Yeah, on YouTube.
I've seen
Leapfrog
it.
Studios.
Yeah, Frog Leap Studio, something like that. And he does like fucking I'm a Barbie girl, but it's to metal.
He did
And-
a good cover of Africa.
Africa.
That one went super viral because of the thumbnail. Just go look it up on YouTube. You'll understand. I'm not invalidating. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, I'm making myself laugh because my favorite video of his is where he's announcing that he's getting a divorce.
Oh God.
Is that his? Why is that his?
He has like a little 4-year-old girl.
The next video he uploaded after announcing he's separating from his then wife is "Tragedy" by Bee Gees,
Oh fuck. That's so fucked.
and it's a metal cover of and I love that too. And
That's great.
I actually very much enjoy Bee Gees, but that
That's so funny.
hey buddy, I'm sorry. Please be nice to me. Please.
At least it wasn't the Bad Touch cover, because they did the Bad Touch cover of Bloodhound Gang, and it's just the best. It's just the fucking best. What do you think of covers? Like Bodum did Oops, I Did It Again.
love that
I
shit.
love.
Yeah.
I love wacky covers.
Knife
Yeah.
and fork. I eat that shit up, dude.
Cut my jokes into pieces. This is my knife and fork. Like we've seen those like memes where we were doing this before the recording where you were like associating like food puns with popular song
I used to
lyrics.
do.
Let's go through this real quick.
Mhm.
This
What are we
is-
going through?
This is important. What your entrepreneurial
Oh yeah,
endeavors.
my
This
business,
is very
my
important.
big business idea. So, so my goal in metal and comedy and stuff is I'm inevitably gonna open a vineyard or a wine related thing,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna call it Cannibal Corpse,
I fucking love it. It's the best.
and we're gonna have two premier items. The first is gonna be a Cabernet Sauvignon called Hammer Smashed Grapes.
Yes.
And then our next one is going to be a beautifully crisp white wine called the Pinot Grigio.
Oh my fucking god! And it has to be spelled like with that amount of like
exactly.
ease in it, where it, like circles around the whole bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh
so that's
man,
going to be me.
I had the
Invest now, you know.
yeah, do it. Would this business in question also like host a prospective comedy show? Like if you were to
No,
actually
they
open
would
up
host
this
metal
place,
shows. It'd
Yeah.
be metal show.
It'd be metal shows.
Metal shows at the winery, dude.
I feel
You
bad.
go
I
there,
talk
you
shit
get
about Tool because doesn't he have a vineyard?
Yeah, Maynard's got a winery. Yeah,
Sorry, buddy.
Mhm.
I do like your music. Just the people that listen to it are bad.
yeah, I know. It's a real stink fist. Oops.
Stink fest.
Stink fest. Oh my god, that
call it Steak Fest.
Fuck
on
yeah.
that.
I'm sort of the bitch of the group. I
nasty things about yourself like that.
Don't sell yourself
mostly
short.
it sounds nasty towards you guys. What I would say is, the thing is that I think people who get there may just want to hear the goddamn comedy. So I'm sensitive to. So as we've planned the show, I've been really sensitive to that no one is coming to, like, if people are there for the comedy, they don't want to hear my dumb songs. And a lot of them, some of them maybe, I don't know. Maybe because it's a metal themed show. But I'm just saying that it's like, if you go out, if you're in the mood to go out and see stand up, an entire ass death metal band doing blast beats in your face may not be your vibe that night, is what I'm trying to say. But if it's just me, then maybe that's different, because then that almost is more like it becomes almost like a variety show. Yeah. So yeah, I can rip through a song. One little quickie, just to. Well, what does that mean? Like a minute or 4 minutes? Like, if I do a regular song, it might be 4 minutes.
Might be 4 minutes. Because I feel like if we did like, it's 5 minutes till showtime, and then it starts, fill that with like, one little song and go, this is Hellbent for Laughter. Welcome to the stage, the host of the show. And then, and you'll be up there with your guitar. Like if a joke really kills, you could like do something really quick on there. Or if a joke sucks, you can go,
well, I think so. I will say this, with the exception of maybe like the headliner, I will warn the comedians that if they flub a joke, they'll hear from me.
If they fuck it up, stage. I think we should do that, because that'll put the pressure on. And
because the last show we did, there was times when I wish I could remember. Somebody said something really, like, one of the comics said something really stupid, and I jumped in, I said something, and I was so fucking proud of myself. I was like, that's so fucking funny, whatever I just said, and I wish I could remember what it was. Apparently, it wasn't funny enough to remember, but like, to me, as an audience member, I would like that, because it would mean that the show becomes unpredictable.
Yeah.
The show then becomes kind of this, like, anything can happen, even if it's just one guy on stage talking shit. And it makes it a bit of a different angle. Like, you can go see a lot of other shows and just go see stand-up. But if you go to this show, you get stand-up plus, I don't know, like John, the insult comic guitarist.
Yeah, that's funny. I had an idea in my head.
This is a great show. For me to poop on.
For me to
riff on.
For you to rip on. I love it. And an idea I had, like, even coming up with the idea was like, like the whole cliche, like, that you do, like, if a joke goes, like, if the drummer is like paying attention the whole time, which is why I thought it was a big ask to have him pay attention the whole time. If a joke kills, you could do like a quick little blast beat fill. Instead of a boom, she's like, and then, I fucked your mom, and then like just fucking, just a quick 2-second thing.
The thing is that if a comic is killing, I don't want to throw off his.
That's right too. Yeah.
By injecting our own contribution, but if he fucking flubs a joke, he deserves it.
You'd have to,
because and also I would argue, humbly, if you flub a joke and then you get someone to come in there and kind of add something that bring some levity to the room, even if it's kind of at your expense, at least you didn't let the energy drop to a level of it being awkward. Now it's, at least like now people are still having a good time. They're still, whatever, their energy's still high.
Fuck yeah.
I wanted Aaron Jankowski. I don't know if I'm saying that his name right. He wanted to do the show, but he was doing a huge show at Flappers, and he wanted to have like all of his audience.
A huge show at Flappers?
Yeah, huge show at Flappers. He wanted all of his people to show up, so he like makes nice.
I hope they've got enough tater tots.
Yeah, God, they've got enough cookies and Flappy Wings and all that fucking shit. God, I don't want to talk shit I don't want to shit talk Flappers too much, but
I'm sitting next to two of probably the nicest comedians in the LA comedy scene.
We're teddy bears. We just listen to violent music.
Andrew in particular is often the butt of my jokes on stage at his expense about how nice he is.
Oh, stop.
I said, you weren't there, but at his last thing, so two or three bare knucks ago, he got a little too drunk, which I've never seen.
Mm-hmm.
And for half a second, he was mean.
For half a second,
was I actually mean? What did I do?
A little bit. Like, there was a thing, so there was a moment where I think I said something like, oh, fuck, I wish I could remember the context. I was talking to somebody else. I was like, I'm so sorry that I can't remember the exact example. I had said something to one of the other comics like, oh, you mean, I said, oh, do you mean this or this? And you kind of said like, clearly means that. There was something like
Oh,
something
you
like
had a
that.
little tone to it.
Yeah, there
Sometimes
was just-
I have
get a little
impatience.
There was
tone.
just
I
this
choose to
kind of
hide.
like
Yeah.
there was this kind of like you asked me. I think you asked me something, and I was like, somehow my answer wasn't to your satisfaction, and I'm like, it's fine. He's like my brother, and he's the sweetest guy in the world. Whatever the fuck. And then so the next show, I was like, nobody buy Andrew a beer because whatever happened last time, he got so drunk that he was mean, and you know what I mean. Like that's how you must have been gone if you're.
I was pretty fucked up that night. I hadn't eaten because I'm trying to lose weight, and instead I drank 5 beers on an empty stomach.
Because people like you so much that they bought them for you.
That was really nice of them.
Let's be fair about the context.
Yeah, and they didn't want to put money in my tip jar.
Are you that nice in the pit? You can't be nice in the pit.
No, I've broken noses.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
afraid of the pit, dude.
you're afraid of the pit.
I'm like he chooses to be on
I'm
stage.
afraid of it now.
I-
Fuck.
Actually, I have this thing. I don't want to talk about it right now. Well, I mean, I have this like I don't know what to call it, like philosophical thing called the wisdom of the pit.
the wisdom of the pit. I like
Wisdom
that.
of the pit.
Does that fit in with like pit etiquette and like what not to do at the
Etiquette.
pit?
Sort
like,
of. I
fucking
think
no karate
it's more.
kicks and
It's
shit?
more like. I mean, I'm using the pit as like a metaphor for life.
Okay.
Sort of in this.
If someone falls down,
analogy.
you pick them back up.
That's
Should be that easy.
That's actually
Yeah.
a great, but it's not. So it's about the way the pit. I can just tell you what it is at this point, but it's the way the pit contributes to the entire audience experience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
So the wisdom of the pit is as follows. So if you go to a metal show, there's sort of like 3 or 4 sections of the audience. There's the like first like 1 to 5 rows, which are kind of mushed up against the barricade.
Hell,
That's
then there's
me.
the
I don't like that section.
It's tough because sometimes you want to be really close, but it also like it's depending on the show, it can be physically
The
uncomfortable.
tragic contradiction of that is like I want to be close to the band, but I don't want to be like stuck in this like
Yeah.
sweaty slush.
Yeah.
Well, and it depending on where you are in that first section, it sucks more or less because if you're up at the very front, you have the most pressure, but then in front of you is just the barrier. But that also means that that's where the fat people come tumbling down over your neck
Yeah.
to go into the the warm embrace of the security guard. So there's a few sections to a audience at a metal show. You have the first few rows, so to speak. And this is a freestanding metal show. This is not a place that has like chairs and seats.
Right. Hardwood floors too.
Yeah, or whatever, right? So first few rows, then you have usually the pit, is the circle pit or whatever the fuck is usually right there. And then you have sort of the back portion. And you can sort of say that there's like a short stop between that first section and the pit where it's people who are kind of like being hit by the moshers. Like their experience is heavily affected by what the pit is doing.
Yeah.
And what you'll see at a lot of shows is inevitably somebody who's there with his girlfriend who is dead set on like using all of his strength, all of his might to keep the 2,000 people that are there from coming into contact with his, lovely partner. And so he just kind of stands there like this or like this and just tries to like box out
Mm-hmm.
the entire room.
Yeah. And you're a
And
big
I look
guy.
at that and I'm like, that is a little stupid because
Don't stand there.
because it's like it's not stupid to want to protect someone you care about or whatever and want them to have a good experience, but it's like the math is not in your favor. There's a lot of other people against just you, and you'll see them get frustrated sometimes. They'll kind of like push other people out of the way, or they're just stand there and like really try to like aggressively hold that position.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and in general, like even if we're not talking about someone that has like a partner there, you'll see some people who are like not in the pit, but like adjacent to it, who are really like trying to inflict their force, their strength or whatever upon the people around them such that they are not like being moved at all. So I had this insight at some point at a concert. It might have been Anthrax. I can't remember who I was seeing, where this was happening a lot. And I wasn't like trying to force like anyone off me, but I was kind of like, okay, like I'm kind of like, if I get pushed a little bit, I'll kind of push back to try to just have an upright posture. At some point I had this experience where I said, I'm just gonna like let my body go limp and see what happens. And literally I didn't move because the force of all the people around me just kept me up. Like it was so
That's
packed
interesting.
Yeah.
that I just literally just went
The gravity.
And
of
I
it,
just
yeah.
stayed. And then if the audience moved a little bit, like, because inevitably it kind of sways a little bit when there's a pit involved. Like the pit is like entropy. It's just, there's an element of randomness, and it moves the fucking audience like the ocean like moves, like the water in the ocean moves, where there's probably some way to make sense of it, but it is not like predictable.
My
And
experience with the pit, just to put a quick little personal anecdote, is it's like sitting by a bonfire and trying to avoid the smoke. No matter where you sit, it's coming.
The smoke's gonna blow in your direction.
You could try to avoid the
face
pit,
it.
but inevitably, like you're gonna be standing somewhere and it's gonna pick up around where you are.
well, I mean, you can go in the back. I think you can go far away from the pit, and it won't. It depending on the show, it won't affect you. So
I agree. You could also,
But that's like saying if
put
you're at a
fucking
bonfire-
bunch of dildos in your ass and fucking nut and be a baby. I don't know. You can also go in the bathroom.
And,
finger yourself in
you're
the
a big
stall.
guy.
You could be fucking lame. I'm joking, of course.
You're the first line of. You're a big man, so like you're kind of, whether you like it or not, you're the first line of defense. When it comes to like,
he's
helping
like
out the smaller people.
He's the berserker in the pit. He's
Yeah, you're the
nightmare.
berserker. Yeah.
I will also say this, and I apologize because I know you have more to contribute, and I'm looking forward to hearing it. The times that
So
I've been the
fucking
guy,
nice.
the times that I've been the guy trying to defend my beloved, it's similar to what you said, where it's like just give into it. And what I've noticed is like it's always better to just be part of it. There have been times where I'm like sitting there putting my arm on and be like, watch out, bro. And then I just join the pit, start running in a circle. And even if your partner doesn't join you, it's still funny.
Yeah.
Because she's like, you're doing it. And I'm like, I'm doing it. Punch a guy in the
I'm
back of the fucking neck.
Which, by the way, speaking of your lady, it was her idea to come up with the Groucho Marx glasses for this next one.
I suppose
which
we
is
can plug my incredible partner.
Just such a good idea.
Who I'm deeply enamored with.
Yeah.
As usual, she interrupts my story. Oh my god! Oh fuck! Look me in the eyes and tell me I'm wrong.
No, I wouldn't deny it for a moment. I'm lucky to get a word in edgewise with that fucking beautiful woman.
Yeah, she designed the
At
poster.
ThoughtCobell on Instagram. The first O is a 0 at ThoughtCobell. Enormously talented artist, has done all of the artwork for Scream Funigore and Hellbent and my brand of comedy, Bare Knuckles Comedy.
Give her your
and
money.
Beyond. She fucking rules. She is great.
How romantic. And she also made it, not to plug my other show, Riff 182, but she designed the logo for that. And if that sells out, I'm tattooing it on my body.
Give her a follow.
yeah.
Ask her about how much fun she's having with Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate 3, is that a game?
It is a video game, yes. I did jokes about it last night, as a matter of fact.
You did?
Yeah.
Fuck,
So
I don't think I was listening because I was having 3 things happening at once.
So she has become fully nocturnal because we both like video games, and she only ever wants to be playing this game. So even when she has to stop playing her game so I can play my game, she's like, what if I just don't go to sleep? Then I can play this game all I want.
Well, that's where the DS comes in. Or like the Game Boy.
Do you want to?
If you have one.
I mean, they don't make Baldur's Gate 3.
No, they don't, but that's what you'll have to settle with if she's
they
got
might
the-
have, did
the
they make
Steam
it for
Deck,
the
maybe.
Switch?
Steam Deck is probably the closest option, but it's not on the Switch. No, it's a very mechanically intensive game. You can so there's a bear that you can fuck in the game.
Oh yeah, I do remember you saying this one. Yeah, I do remember you.
And so she's just like, this is my life now, is that I just have sex with this handsome bear in Baldur's Gate 3 in the land of Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just there and I'm like, I'm right here.
You're right
toots.
there. Hell yeah.
And she's like, you've got emotions. I'd rather.
Oh, look at that, what
I
you're
got
feeling.
ones and zeros in front of me, baby.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. I've been to a Gojira pit once, and that was weird because like progressive, more like bands that have like different time signatures, like that affects the pit, and it's weird because because these are mostly white people that don't have like a real sense of rhythm, and like pit,
How dare you.
the pit just gets weird. These are casual people that aren't musicians that just want to see the band. The guitar nerds are in the front, like looking at the equipment, like studying it intensely,
Right.
and like not talking to any of the girls and all that. They're just like geeking out over all the gear and all that.
Is that an option? Can you talk to the girls at the show?
You can, but most of them are like,
Most of them are there with boyfriends.
That's
what I
was thinking,
Has,
yeah.
Most of them
has
are
been
there.
my experience. Not that I go to shows and talk to every girl.
Right. There's girls at like shows, like if it's like a female fronted band like Lacuna Coil or Nightwish, like there's definitely more chicks out there. But if it's something like Immolation or fucking, pig squeals. It's mostly dudes.
Dude, my dream is to meet the girl at the immolation show. Like,
You want to meet the girl at the
Fell in love with the girl at the immolation show. She said,
yeah.
"Brr," and I told her.
And her name is Bree. That's even a spoiler alert. Her name is Bree.
Bree Sawicki, I'm coming for you.
Bree Sawicki.
Pun intended.
I do. You mentioned Gojira. There's something I want to say. However, I do want you to conclude your pit wisdom.
All right, let me wrap this up. So we've established that there's like 3 or 4 chunks of the audience. There's people in the front row. There's the pit. There's kind of people in the back who aren't really that, who aren't like physically that engaged. And then there's these people who are kind of like experiencing the pit, right? So you can either be the guy who's fighting the forces of all these people in the pit, or you can kind of just surrender to it and allow yourself to be sort of controlled, so to speak, yet also oddly protected, because you don't have to exhibit any force, and somehow you'll be kept upright. And if in the worst case scenario you fall over, which might have happened to me at some point, the etiquette of a metal show is that everyone picks you up.
Yeah.
So here's the question. You can be the guy in the pit, you can be the guy fighting everything, or you can be the guy sort of surrendering to that experience. Of those, of your options, who would you rather be?
I kind of already gave my answer. I surrender to it, or stand in the back. It's not that bad. You got a fucking beautiful plus-size woman of color.
So you wouldn't be the person
arm.
in the pit. You're not the person in the pit.
I've been the person in the pit.
When I was in
sometimes.
shape, I was
one.
in the pit.
I have to fit white, but I go to so many different shows.
You'll see. You have to pick one.
If I must,
Who would you rather
choose
be in
one-
life, so to speak? This is the.
Oh, it's one of these deals.
There's sort of something aphoristic about this.
Remind me of the options.
Guy in the pit, guy resisting the pit, guy surrendering to the pit.
I surrender.
So you're not the guy in the pit making
No, because sometimes part of surrendering is being absorbed into it.
100%.
Isn't 1 and 3 kind of the same thing where you surrender to the pit, but
No,
you're in the pit? Or
No, there's people who actively choose to create.
There's the people who so like
Some of those people suck.
there's the guy there's the moshers, there's the people resisting the moshers, and then there's the people who are not in the pit but are not resisting fighting it.
You didn't mention the jockheads that go there for exercise.
So
And they don't fuck with the music at all.
Yeah, dude. I went to a show. I love Ghost, the band Ghost.
there's a I will say there's a punchline to this. So just finish your story, but this isn't over.
You don't mosh to Ghost. Ghost is not a
don't
very
mosh to
moshable
Ghost.
band. Maybe
You
Elizabeth
don't
when they
listen
still
to
play
it.
that, but they don't play
Yeah.
it anymore. But there were people there in fucking cut off sleeve t-shirts trying to mosh, and I'm like, can you guys fucking go away?
Ghost is like
Go to 24-hour fitness if you need to run in a circle so fucking
right.
bad.
Or
dude.
like what's
That is
the
my
karate in
favorite
the
kind of
pit?
moshing. I love a good like power metal circle pit.
Power metal's a whole different backward.
I love just running around.
about
and
slaying
just,
dragons.
I don't
fucking,
like physically hitting people in the pit.
Oh, no.
I like
just full cardio.
I like running. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just
running's
want to
fun.
get I just want to get like my energy out, and I
Yeah.
don't
Love it.
You'll catch an elbow.
I
by
don't
accident.
really want to. I don't really
Part of
get
fun.
that. Like why people want to like. Well, I take that back. I understand. I think it's primal. There's something. It's like when you see rams like play. They like fucking gore into each
Yeah,
other.
they play fight. Yeah.
Like
Love
that's
that
what
shit.
that's what a mosh pit is. Like it's so like beautifully primal that
Absolutely.
Mhm.
it's like Friday. You've had a tough week. You just want to go to the show, take your shirt off, get your energy out, and like kind of play fight with your friends. It's kind of fascinating if you think about it.
It is, and like you mentioned about Drew, one of the nicest guys on the planet, listens to the most aggressive fucking music ever, and you'd think like, oh, this is a violent person. I would take Surrender to the Pit as well, just because I do drugs at the concerts I go to, and you kind of had no choice but to surrender. Like I did shrooms when I saw Zach Sabbath.
Fuck yeah.
I saw Zach Sabbath, which is like the heaviest version. Like you're never gonna hear heavier versions of those songs. Because those songs are like so old, and they're not. When you hear like "Children of the Grave," like it's a heavy song, but Black Sabbath's version, like it's heavy, but it's not as heavy as you would with like the more modern equipment, the more modern gear. That version of "Children of the Grave" just fucked so fucking hard, and I peaked on the mushrooms that night, and it was just I love this.
That
I had no
rules.
choice but to surrender, dude. They didn't play Sweetleaf.
That's bonkers.
They didn't play it because I think by them not playing it, all of the stoners who were hiding weed in their socks would just light it all up at once and while that song was playing, the whole place would just go up in smoke, literally. Not a single Dio song that they did either, which is a little disappointing.
So I just want to close this loop.
Please do.
So the punchline to this little fucking whatever, like little I don't.
Wisdom of the pit.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to like come up with some term for it. Is it would seem to be you don't want to be the guy resisting. Maybe there's an argument for being the person who surrenders and just allows the pit to take care of him and trusts that it will. And yet, it would seem to be that you pick one might want to pick being the guy in the pit who is causing the chaos.
Oh, the instigators.
Because then you're somehow you could sort of argue you're in control or of contribution or something of influence to the energy in the room, whatever. But I'm just gonna cut to the chase. But I argue you don't want to be any of them. You want to be the guy on stage making it all happen.
Yeah,
There it is.
dude, fucking 100%.
Held up for laughter, May
wanna
2nd gang.
You want to start the wall of death. Hey, if we sell it out, do we do a wall of death?
Yes.
We
We'll
should
just move all the
definitely do a
chairs?
comedy
Absolutely,
wall
yes.
of death.
Comedy wall of death? Oh my
Like
God.
a wall. So the first band I ever played
A
in.
lull of death.
What's the deal?
First band I ever played in.
What's
used to do this
the
thing
deal?
Called a wall of high fives.
With early food, motherfucker.
He's committed to it. I don't
What the
think.
fuck are you?
I don't think he
talking
heard you.
about? Yeah, I was not listening. I didn't get that.
Go
at
ahead
all.
and say what you were saying.
No, but like, what's the deal?
That's the big Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, what's the deal with
Yeah,
airline
yeah.
food? With airline food,
Motherfucker.
What's the deal with this lull of death?
dude. Lull of death. Finally,
Mm-hmm.
finally,
A lull of death, I'd fuck with that.
At the end of every show, we do a lull of death. I like that.
LOL, lol of death.
Yeah, that's what he said.
So
You guys are
we
saying?
should laugh like in the direction towards each other instead of like
The wall
a
of
traditional
laughs.
wall
Yeah.
of laughs, wall of death. Like people like smash into each other, like Spartans fighting in the war, and we should just like laugh and just like give each other hugs and shit.
So the first band I ever played in used to do this thing called like a wall of high fives, and so
Okay.
they would line people up, and you were told to pair up with someone on the other side, and you would run into each other and give each other a high five, and then together, like holding hands or not or whatever, like kind of like circle pit. It was like supposed to be like a kind of funny thing. It was like an
I love
expression of friendship, not just
I think of the Red Rover game where you link arms.
yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like that.
But maybe we can do. I don't know. Maybe we can have everyone run at each other and give each other a high five.
I like the high
So
five
the- so-
idea. I think
yeah,
we should do
so that
that.
there's
That's
still-
a great idea.
So that there's still a wall of something.
Yeah,
coming in
we'll
contact,
crash into each
but-
other, but it'll be like soft and
Yeah.
consensual. Because like then again, these are people that are here for comedy, not necessarily for a fucking metal show. One of the guys that's promoting the show was like, "I'm going to do a stage dive." Like, no, don't do a stage dive. Like, please don't.
No, don't. Please do a stage dive.
Please do a stage dive.
Let him do that.
Let him
Break
do it.
his neck on the ground.
That's again School of Rock. It's like the opening scene where Jack Black like dives into a table or
Just
something.
hits the floor. And
Yeah.
people are like avoiding him.
Yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Is this a new thing, or are you wrapping other things up?
I was gonna bring up a whole different topic.
Because I'd like to go pee and grab another drink.
Okay.
Go pee and grab another drink.
Get
No
the
one's stopping
fuck
you.
out of here.
It's okay. Thanks for sharing. Now we have the image of you peeing burned in my head forever.
Somebody pissed all over my toilet lid, by the way.
That wasn't you?
No.
I assumed it was you.
No. Well, I don't know. I don't know who it was, but I
Who
lifted
misses the bowl when the whole thing's lit up?
I lifted the.
The whole thing, the whole thing's
pee,
lit up
Andrew.
with a blue light.
Do you want me to pause the recording while you do that, or just keep going?
No, we can keep going.
So
No,
I
do like
I
the-
wanted to ask you guys.
the high five thing is a great idea.
we
think
should.
that we should do
I think that would again. It's just like it would make it a little bit more
Yeah,
special.
like
Even if
close
only
the
a-
show with a lull
Yeah,
of death.
a lull
yeah.
of death. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I like that.
So I was going to ask you guys what some of your favorite either like metal albums or favorite like comedy moments, or even like what got you into metal, like and what got you into comedy, because like both of these things are very like foreign to a lot of
Yeah.
people. Like when I tell certain people I'm a death metal musician,
Mhm.
they look at me like I'm an alien. And then when I tell people I do stand up, they look at me like I'm a superhero.
Yeah,
Like it's a very interesting, extreme
Mhm.
reaction I get kind of no matter what when I tell them those are sort of my two main things.
well, the show Metalocalypse is both of those things.
Sure.
Pretty much, because it's a cartoon on Adult
Yeah.
Swim and all that, and it's like funny, like brutal humor, but it's also like really fucking heavy, good music that that Brendan Small of Death Clock creates. So metal, I don't know, metal and comedy kind of happened at the same time.
So how did that happen for you?
Well, for metal, I was watching a Dragon Ball Z movie on VHS, and fucking Goku's fighting Frieza's brother, and Change in the House of Flies by Deftones was playing. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I want to know more about that. So with my allowance money, my mom let me buy the first Deftones record.
Wow, that's awesome.
Which, if you know the first Deftones record, it's an enema on the record. I thought it was a cute little seashell, and I'm 9 years old. And I've always like been the class clown. I've always like wanted to tell jokes and all that stuff. So, you know, I would watch this movie like for X amount of times, and I would voice over my own like script of the movie. So comedy and metal like have always like really bled together. And other than the fact that I can do all the voices on Metalocalypse pretty spot on. William Murderface, you know, he talks like he's got a retainer in his mouth.
Nice.
Pickles the drummer's from Wisconsin. You just got to talk like you're a Packers fan. Don't you know? Nathan's all the way down here. That's not that. I'm not that great at Nathan. Nathan Explosion. And Toki's all the ways up his. He says lots of S's because he's the Norwegians. A hinga dinga durgan. And Squiscar's the same things, only it's just a lot deeper.
That's a good discern.
And fucking Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown. Like I fucking like that's my personality. My whole personality is the Metalocalypse show. And like that
was such a big deal when Metalocalypse
such
dropped.
a big deal. And there was
that was so major.
Did you remember the episode where they tried to do comedy? Do you remember that episode?
I forgot about that. I do.
The band, like, they do improv exercises. Pickles is driving the, like, pretend car. He's like, oh, we're on the road. What do you do? And it, like, sucks. It's bad because they're fucking musicians. They're not comics. So they're like, trying to do jokes, and, like, it just sucks. And they're like, man, comedy's fucking miserable. It just bleeds into my soul so much.
I've never really spent much time with Deftones, which is a crime.
I fucking love
Deftones,
Deftones, dude.
One of the best.
I love
But
them.
around the time that my friends were listening to Deftones, I was still hopelessly obsessed with System of a Down. And I didn't want to listen to anything else. I was just entirely obsessed.
Oh, but were you obsessed enough that you based your facial hair off of the bass player of the band, which was when you met me?
Chavo Odette.
I had like the Chavo beard, like
You
that
sure
was
did,
all the way
buddy.
down to my chest.
There was a non-zero percentage of influence of the fact that I was like, something about this guy.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying
Something about that tassel on his chin was.
It's a weird coincidence to bring that up because we mentioned Gojira earlier, and I just wanted to comment on this in our friendship. There's a through line of our. So we all met through comedy, coincidentally. We all love metal, but we all met through comedy. I'll start with John because I met him first. John, you and I met because I was wearing a Gojira t-shirt, and you were on stage, and you were telling your jokes, and then you said, oh, fuck, he didn't. It's because you're wearing a Gojira shirt, and I think Gojira rules. I'm sorry.
Are you sure it was Gojira?
I'm confident. I'm almost positive it was Gojira. What's your memory hold?
I was thinking, well, I was going to say Death, but no, you did jokes about the band Death.
Correct.
So that's not true.
I don't think I had my Death shirt yet at that point.
And
I've had other
Blind
Death
Guardian you wore, I think, at the next time I
Correct.
met
We
you.
were already friends.
I see a
because I
whole
was
line of
already-
Blind Guardian up there, dude.
Yeah, well, they're
That's
my-
both of our favorite
my-
band
that's
in the
my
entire
favorite
world.
band.
That's my number
which we're
one. I
seeing
love Blind
next
Guardian
week.
more than any other band. I was wearing my Gojira shirt.
Okay.
I have some Gojira jokes, so I was excited to tell them that night with you. We talked, we hung out, and then the next time we performed, I did my real tight five, and you're like, "Oh, you're actually funny too." So we should.
That first night, I will
friends.
say, it was rough.
Never
Well, you
judge
were the
an
only
open
other metal
mic.
guy.
Yeah, you did some you did jokes, and you don't do this a lot, even now. You did some jokes that were just about metal.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, this guy doesn't understand who's at these shows. At
No,
these
I fully
at these
understand.
comedy shows. I didn't know it at the time.
Sure.
I was just like, okay, it's wow, hey, bless his heart. I had a lot of thoughts that roughly translated into Southern would equate to bless his heart.
Mhm.
And then the second time we met, you crushed, and I was like, damn, okay. And then we became best friends.
That first
Some
time
shit
was at
like
an
that.
open mic.
Yeah. Do you
Yes,
Same
remember?
open
it's
mic, two,
very,
like, 1
very
week apart.
difficult to gauge if someone is good or not at an open mic because 9
Yeah.
times out of 10 we're trying new shit. We don't even fucking know if it works.
And I've got this weird metal chunk that I have in my back pocket that I love deeply because obviously it scratches so many itches for me.
Yeah.
But I never do them because I'm like, who the fuck am I going to tell these to? And then
Right.
he was in the crowd. He had his Dimmu Borgir sweater on.
Mhm.
I was like, perfect.
Clip that.
Actual quote. Actual quote. I should have done it into the mic.
That's great.
And so I do my metal jokes
Clip the
mostly
mic.
for him. And I even started at the top of my set. I was like, I'm going to do metal jokes. None of you are going to get them. He is. I mean, it's you and me, baby.
That's how you get a fan for life. DeResta, another great comic, told me about this. You could do
More than a fan.
You see one guy in a metal shirt. You bet I'm going to do my fucking Iron Maiden joke and how they're so old they're called Iron and Fiber Maiden now. I don't care if nobody laughs. Like if it's just this motherfucker in the front row and nobody else gives a shit about metal, I will do that joke and that becomes a fan for life. It'll bomb at the surface, but you've gained a fan.
The way I met you, Jake Bassi. You were hosting the open mic at Flappers Comedy Club in bustling, beautiful Burbank, California.
Burbank, California.
And you were wearing the Gojira t-shirt this
Was it
time.
that same one? Was it a different shirt?
Mine was just the Of Mars and Sirius album cover.
Oh, you
with
had
the
that
whale.
one. I had Magma.
You have Magma.
Yeah.
And you brought me on. You were in the middle of leaving. You were sprinting out of the room. And I was like, halt. I have metal jokes for you.
Let's go.
And I actually had a pretty strong set that night.
You did.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I don't think I did the metal jokes the whole time, but I at least did my Gojira joke, which I guess I'll do in a moment. But I just remembered that Gojira was the weird through line between the three of us, respectively, because you don't know him, you know each other through me, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And shout out to those French bastards.
Talking about the planet and how it's fucked.
Oh, buddy, yeah.
And we got to save the whales and the forest. Amazonia? Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of Gojira metal puns. But nothing came.
I know that one's hard. That one's hard. It's the hardest joke in the universe. I don't know.
Of walls to
Go
Sirius.
Go cheer.
Go cheer
Go
up.
cheer up.
Go cheer up.
Oh,
Go cheer up.
Go cheer up. I like that one.
That's not nothing.
Go cheer up. That's not nothing.
That's not nothing.
That's pretty good.
That's a.
You know what? Because for a while, Drew, you were stranded on a Gojira pun.
Of Mars
Don't
to
lock
Dead
the
Sirius.
door on me. You'll laugh me stoned dead. I listened to that song too much. There was another comic at that open mic. Her name's Dahlia Black. Shout out to her. She did an hailstorm joke that day. She did a fucking hailstorm joke, dude.
How did I miss that?
I don't remember how it goes at all, but she was doing an hailstorm joke and she was talking about how we don't mosh, we just row. She went to an hailstorm show and everybody fucking sat down and just started rowing. Amanda Martha's done that too, but completely forget how the joke went. But and that just I
guess check out Dahlia Black.
Yeah, she's in London right now, killing it right now.
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, she's doing the.
Is that her real name or is that a play on Black Dahlia?
It's got to be. It's a play on the Black Dahlia murder, the actual murder, not the band. Black Dahlia murder.
I mean, at this point, the band's bigger.
Yeah, the band's bigger than that murder that never got solved.
That one murder.
Yeah, and you tagged that Gojira joke with how you were kind of mad at your dad about shitty band names.
Should I just tell the joke?
Do the joke.
All right, so
I love it.
I'm a big metalhead. I really like this band, Gojira. My dad was giving me shit because he thought that was a stupid name. He's like, "What, the Japanese Godzilla? That's dumb." And I was like, "Your favorite band is The Doors."
The Doors.
Simmer down, big dog.
That's
Plus,
a great joke.
they were fucking 13 when they signed that paperwork. Go easy on them, dude.
Yeah.
When I was 13, I have an AOL Scream name that I'll never show to the light of day ever again, all right? Much less put on the poster of my death metal band.
Mm-hmm. Your band's The Doors.
That should be actually something we do at some point is publish our old AOL string names on behalf of Scream Funny Gore.
Shout out Tankman115 at AOL.com.
I was pretty fly for a Wi-Fi.
Yeah, because that's my nickname in my family and hometown group of friends is Tank.
Oh, Tank Man.
Yeah, Tank.
Do you thought it was Taint Man? Because that's what I thought it
The
was.
Taint
I
Man?
said
Yeah.
Tank.
I heard Taint.
No,
we
Tank.
we heard different things.
Yeah, I played flag football when I was younger, but I was still plus size, husky, plump, fat guy. And I was slower, but I would just knock kids over because back then being fat equaled being strong.
You were just a bulldozer, dude. You
I
just
was
mow motherfuckers
a
down.
tank, if you will. Perhaps another large vehicle.
A Hummer? I don't fucking know.
Buddy, don't ask me about my Hummers.
There was a chick at my job once. She was mad about fucking we don't recycle, and then she got up in a Hummer and left. I'm like, you
cunt.
stupid.
You
goddamn.
Sorry,
That C word. Oh, we do want
dude.
to bleep
So
that one?
at
Yeah.
one point when Tesla was really picking up steam,
Mhm.
I guess pun intended. I saw some dude driving on the freeway in his Tesla toss a lit cigarette out of his car in the California fucking hills.
Yeah, what a dumbass.
And I'm like, dude, you're just gonna start a wildfire in your electric car?
I know, right?
You
God,
dipshit.
it's fucking over. And those things don't purr. They don't make noise. They sneak up on you, man.
Don't they? Wait, yeah, they do.
Your dad's favorite band is the Cars. You know, like there's like so many bands like back then that
I guess he's just what I needed.
they were just named lame shit. I don't know. My mom was like into Janis Joplin and Zeppelin. What were your parents into?
My mom, I don't even think likes music really. I
What?
mean, like,
I think that about my mom sometimes too.
She does, and if she heard me say that, she'd be offended. I think.
How could
But,
you
like,
not like
she
music in
doesn't-
general?
But she just, for example, doesn't like. She never like. You know, I'm in the mood to listen to, and puts on music. She likes to watch the news,
She just listens.
That's
to the
your
radio,
music?
bro.
and yeah, and
My
listens.
mom likes the weather. She'll just watch the weather all day.
Mhm.
Dude, that's
I-
that's aggressively mom.
I love you, mom, and I know this is a short-sighted
Mm.
because you were too busy raising a family.
But my dad likes rock and roll, and that's kind of how I got
Same.
into metal. So to go back to sort of the question we were talking about earlier, like
Mm-hmm.
how how any of us got into metal, like I asked for a guitar when I was 10 years old for Christmas because I already had a PlayStation. I didn't know what else to ask for, and I had no interest in music. And then my dad,
Dude,
and I don't know why the fuck I asked for a guitar. And then like around that time, the movie Cheaper by the Dozen came out, and the band Sum 41 was in the, and Sum 41 is pop punk, but they're all metalheads. So it's this like
All of them
really
are, yeah.
heavy version of pop punk. And they their most one of their biggest hits, Fat Lip, has a lyric in there that goes, "Maiden and priest were the gods that we praised."
Yeah.
That's right.
Meaning Iron Man, Judas Priest, right? Such as Hellbent for Leather.
The singer wears a Maiden
yeah.
shirt in the music video for that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember. So, so I kind of got into them, and then my dad, I didn't know this, played the guitar. He knew how to play guitar. The first 10 years of my life, I had no idea. And then I got a guitar for Christmas, and he plugs it in and picks it up, and he plays "Smoke on the Water," which when you don't know anything about rock and roll guitar,
Yeah.
Yeah.
"Smoke on the Water"
Or
is like
Iron Man
8-finger
or-
fucking
yeah.
tapping. Like that's like virtuoso level shit. And like just hearing the distortion and the fucking heaviness and the rock and roll of it all. Like the first time you hear live in front of your face a rock and roll guitar played through an amplifier, and just the scream of it is just like it's like the first time you come. It's
different.
just
It's
like
the first time you come. for
fucking.
sure.
It's just
It's
like
crazy
I can't even
different.
mean. Yeah, he's like I don't even understand what's happening to my sensory system right now.
I had that feeling when I played with a band for the first time because I would learn songs. I would just listen to it and learn by ear, and then I would
Did
play
you
with
play an
it.
instrument?
I play bass.
No shit.
Yeah, I was a bass player. Well, I mean, I'm really rusty now. But when I picked it
Right in
up,
the back, baby.
my muscle memory is still there. The first song I ever learned how to play on bass was "Seek and Destroy" by Metallica, and it's been years since I picked it up. I remember how it goes, and I haven't played in years.
I make this joke a lot. Like bassists should not be paid the same amount as the rest of the band.
No, and I agree.
In,
and I'm a
most
bassist.
metal. In most metal.
That's hilarious.
Like I used to go on tour sometimes as a fill-in bass player, and I'm a lead guitar player, so bass was pretty easy. And I felt like more like I was playing the hair than the bass because I would just spin my hair around because bass was so fucking
Yeah,
easy.
you
I
were
didn't
playing
even
the
have to
hair.
pay attention. So I just
100%.
would aggressively headbang, and that
That's
was my
funny.
contribution to the entertainment of the evening. And yeah, I'm sorry, bassists. Like you don't deserve the same
Well,
amount of pay
there's
as
that
the
old
rest
trope
of us.
on how the bassists don't
If you're a
don't get
normal,
laid.
if you're like a standard bassist, if you're like, if you're playing fretless bass and you're playing the shit out of it, like yeah, don't get me wrong,
If a
fine.
fretless,
But that's not who
like,
I'm.
jazz
You know,
neck, like,
that's not who I'm talking about.
Those guys fuck. And like there's that trope on how the bass player doesn't get laid. Look at the fingers, baby. Look at the fingers. We can put those babies to work.
Why don't we take a walk, baby?
Let's take a walk.
Let's
Let's take a walk. Let me flick that bean for you for a little bit.
Jesus Christ.
It's just fucking awful. Yeah, don't go to the Cobalt's not around anymore, but like a lot of
Dude, we just played with them though,
wait.
with the crew that ran the Cobalt.
it's not the Cobalt anymore.
No,
It's
so
like called
the
something
Cobalt
else.
Cafe venue is closed, but their team, whatever, still puts on shows all around SoCal. We just played with them actually.
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's fucking awesome. So many finger banging happened in like those fucking bathrooms with just the stickers that are everywhere. You don't even
Oh
know
my
what
god, that's right. I forgot. That's
the
so
sticker
funny.
bathroom. The bathroom it had so many different band stickers on it where you couldn't tell what the original coat of paint was on the walls in there.
When I was 15 and going to the Cobalt or whatever, I used to just look at the fucking bathroom door and say, one day my band sticker is going to be on there.
Yeah.
And then it never happened because the
not too
Cobalt
late.
closed. Well,
Yeah.
the Cobalt closed down. But
Yeah, the owner had like a.
and now I
Cobalt or
have
something.
my own bathroom. I'll do whatever I want to it,
Fuck yeah.
including put a light inside my toilet. If you know,
That's
you
true.
know.
Drew,
Spoiler alert, some of these people might have come into your toilet and seen a glowing purple.
I hope they've all come into my toilet.
That's beautiful. I come in the shower. I clog the fucking drains.
No, I don't do that anymore. I got too much trouble.
That does
with that.
just a public service announcement for anyone, especially if you're roommates. Sperm is not sorry, it's not sperm. Semen is not water soluble,
Nah.
so it doesn't just go down the drain.
It gets chunky. It gets
Yeah, it
stuck in there
sticks.
with the hair and all that.
Yeah, no.
It's gross.
My family household toilet shower got all fucked up. That's how I learned. Now I only because it's one of the most fantastic luxuries one can experience is busting one in the shower.
Not having to clean it up.
I just do it. I only do it on
You
my
have to
birthday.
clean it up extra. That's the thing.
I only do it on my birthday. Like I've reserved that for myself. That's not a joke either. I'll enjoy my own company in the shower
Company.
once a year.
Drew, you didn't
Oh, I
mention.
get there all right.
Drew, you didn't mention your musical influence. So your dad in the joke mentioned the Doors, but so like your folks were listening to classic
so
rock.
my dad likes prog rock, so he loves the early years of Genesis, Peter Gabriel years. He doesn't fuck with Phil Collins. He enjoys Gentle Giant. He enjoys Pink Floyd.
Love Pink Floyd.
Lots of early prog rock stuff. He wanted me to listen to Dream Theater so bad, and I was like, these guys.
That's fascinating.
He didn't even listen to Dream Theater. He was just like, my friends who listened to the stuff I listened to when I was young listen to Dream Theater. Have you thought about checking it? And also, I'm from Monterey, Salinas area. They are named after the Dream Theater in Monterey,
Oh, cool.
California.
Seriously?
I didn't
Yes.
know that.
Wow, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought they were named after something on the East Coast.
I just thought it was
But-
just like a cool, like altruistic kind of name. Like, oh, we're prog rock, so we have a weird name or whatever. Like Coheed and Cambria.
I don't give a fuck about Dream Theater.
You don't?
Yeah.
Dude, when I saw Maiden,
Similar to the observation that I had earlier. So I think this was off camera. So these guys love Children of Bodom. Everyone in the world fucks with Children of Bodom for the most part. I never really got into them because the people in my high school who liked that band were intolerable. And I was like, I don't want to do anything that they're doing.
What was intolerable about them?
They smelled bad. They wanted to fuck the same fat chicks I wanted to fuck. And their t-shirts were smelly. And they were just annoying.
Were they also?
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I the one breaking the news to you that metalheads in high school are fucking annoying? Am I the one telling you
They're
this?
elitist. I used to be that guy, dude. I was like,
But
you're a
but-
poser
but-
if you only listen to like the big four, you know?
But yeah, dude, I had like a no posers allowed phase, tragically, which is so the opposite of how I am now. But where the reason I had asked, just to clarify,
I was also still obsessed with System of a Down at the time.
well, I was just like, what I was trying to figure out is why Bodum specifically. I was trying to figure out what.
Something about the dudes wearing those shirts, I was like, that guy's annoying. Don't give a fuck about him or the clique he claims.
Here's my anecdote about that. Hatebreed, not my favorite band ever. I would never fucking see them live because I hate Hatebreed fans. I enjoy that music, but I wouldn't be caught dead at a Hatebreed show ever. It's just so.
You'd probably be caught dead.
I would, and I'd fit in. I look like I would fucking vibe with that, and I don't.
No, I mean,
Bodum Rules, by the way. I've listened to them since. They're awesome. However,
they're one of my
because
favorites.
sometimes bands that you listen to when you're younger and it's clicking more, they just stay with you for the rest of your life. Tragically for me, they're just a band that is good, and I don't identify with them as much.
I got into that with nu metal, and that was like such a gag back then because like it was you kind of got made fun of if you listened to like Linkin Park or Limp Bizkit. And like System of a Down was like nu metal band, but like now everybody loves it because it's
There's
old.
so much more than that.
Yeah, there's so much, but they're political, they're silly, you know, terracotta pie, and yet they're.
That's
you
my
know,
old MySpace screen name is myspace.com/terracotta_pie. Yeah.
Terracotta_pie.
Don't look it up.
They would have songs about like such silly shit, and then they would just openly criticize the Bush administration on the
Dude.
Iraq War and all that.
Can you do your System of a Down?
Oh, dude, where it's like they'll literally on a beat, they'll be like, Mushroom Man, here I am, the Mushroom Man. Nearly a million Americans are currently incarcerated in the prisons
Holy
of
shit,
the
like that
United
just-
States.
Like what a tone
Literally in
shift.
the same beat.
I buy my crack, I smack my bitch right here in Hollywood. Drug money is fueled by. They're just saying all this fucking shit.
We're trying to build a prison.
I love it. I love doing that song. I covered that song with my band because the drummer would hit the cymbal and then stop.
Love it.
And then we would all know what was coming up next. We'd all just stop there for a second and go, all right. And then we wait for him. And he would pull a prank on us and wait extra long to go into the
I was
song.
deeply my dad liked prog rock. I didn't really identify a bunch with music in my early years, and then I listened to I Believe in a Thing Called Love by The Darkness. That was the first rock song that I was like, what the fuck is this? My parents got me that album, Permission to Land, I think was the name of that album, for Easter that year.
Easter.
It was in my Easter basket on repeat for a
That
year straight.
rules a lot.
The following year, I think I started to get into Green Day a little bit.
Green Day's fun.
I forget
yeah.
who my first, but I really American Idiot. That album came out at some point.
On holiday, I would listen.
still
to
love-
that.
I still love
Jesus
Green
of
Day.
Suburbia. That whole album is actually pretty solid.
I would listen to the whole album front. I save that. It's like a 20-year-old whiskey. I save that album for once a year. I listen
I love
to
it,
it.
too.
And
front
it's
to
still
back.
relevant. Don't want to be an American idiot. And like the world's on fire right now, you know? I saw the rock opera.
We'll be all right.
Of
The world's
American
been in
Idiot
worse
on
think
Broadway.
It was around that point that I was sitting in the car with my dad, and my dad was like, "I always wished that I knew how to play guitar. Do you want to learn how to play guitar?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so my Easter gift that year was an acoustic guitar from Wise Music in Salinas, California. Shout out to him. And I would noodle with it. That summer, my mother was like, "What do you want to do this summer?" And I was like, She was like, "You want to take guitar lessons at the local community college?" Hartnell, shout out to her. And I was like, okay. I learned my G chords and my E minors and whatever the fuck. I started learning how to play guitar. And that's kind of the beginning of the trajectory into me getting into playing music and listening to music. My Chemical Romance was another one that I was really into. At the time, it was 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge. Black Parade came afterwards.
Yeah.
I tragically, and I've listened to it since, and it's a masterpiece. But at the time, I was really into 3 Cheers. Black Parade came out while I was in middle school, and in middle school is when I started listening to System of a Down, and I didn't want to listen to anything other than System of a Down. And also the chicks wearing Black Parade backpacks were fully malformed. They were all just like the weirdest looking creatures.
Those were the scene kids. Their hair was all huge.
Yeah,
I
rode the bus with them,
I
and the bus
love
was
me.
regular size,
Mhm.
and they were just like so horrifying to look at, and I was like, I guess I'm glad I'm on the other side.
Like
of
they
my
look
camp.
like they give a toothy blowjob.
I to this day fully will marry anyone who is a My Chemical Romance chick.
So
Like,
you
those are my
actually
dream
have
girls.
2 copies of the Black Parade up there.
Okay. So
You wanted to talk about that a little bit.
I-
Too.
My camp became System of a Down. I followed the System of a Down MySpace page, and from there, they recommended death metal bands, Decapitated, Necrophagus, things of that nature.
Wow, you went from
They also recommended all of my current favorite power metal bands because I liked Dragon Force as well, and there was a whole thread about like, I love Dragon Force. They're bad. Well, who's good? Oh, I don't know. Symphony X, Iced Earth, Blind Guardian, Angra.
Iced Earth is good.
And then that just
we
became.
can't like them anymore.
And that's-
Unfortunately.
I know.
Right, the guitar
He
player
actually
was at
rated the
fucking
cat.
riot. Yeah, oh, that sucks.
Shout
that
out John
stinks.
Schaefer.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. That's
Yeah.
where my musical taste came from. I just wanted to wrap that. But shout out to the System of a Down MySpace page and the forums that came from it because you had a lot of influence on my musical tastes to these days. You'll never know me. I wanted to impress you so bad, and now I have a podcast and a comedy show. So shout out to me.
All right, folks. Looks like that was the first episode of the Hellbent for Laughter podcast. We'll see if we end up doing another one of these. But we do have a show coming up that you should come to.
Goddamn right, gang. Hellbent for Laughter comedy show, hybrid comedy and metal. Come through for some awesome stand-up comedy and some fucking heavy metal music. It's going to be at Universal Bar and Grill May 2nd, headlined by the one and only Mr. Dean fucking Del Rey. It's going to be me, Andrew Fahey, my beautiful co-host Jake Bassi. Hey there. John Sawicki will be there doing comedy. There may or may not be music by him or adjacent to him. But Jake, what else do we have to go?
Tickets are $15. Come through or hang out or sneak right past us and just walk in. We're super
gives a
nice. We won't
shit?
turn you away if you didn't buy a ticket. Come
It's
through.
art,
But like,
baby.
do buy a ticket. We would appreciate that. Thank you.
Stay tuned. We may be doing more of these. I hope we do because I love these guys and myself and you. John, you got anything else to say?
If you're at all interested, feel free to check out my band Viminal. If you like heavy metal music, you might like us. Probably the best place to listen to us is actually on YouTube. But Viminal, Viminal. And if you're interested, you can also find me on Instagram and send me a DM. Let me know what you think about chunky versus smooth peanut butter.
Chunky myself. Jake, what do you got?
I got nothing. I'll close us out. Don't share needles, folks. Okay, thanks. Die.
Thank you so much. Hey, don't forget to follow. What's your Instagram, dude?
My Instagram is Bassi Takes 5. It's not important.
Just follow him at Jake Bassi. I'm at Drew J. Fahey on Instagram. Bare Knuckles Comedy. Bear like the animal. Knuckles Comedy. We're at Bruce Brothers Craft Beer every Thursday. I'm at Drew J. Fahey on Instagram. What was that you said about?
Don't share needles. Okay, thanks. Die.
Bye.
That's fucking great.